Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, good morning. It's Friday.
It's Friday, and we made it. Oh,
Oh, that's our notification.
so it's a morning episode of Coffee in a Chat and live stream Friday. As you know, I work nights, so I'm not able to do our usual Friday night live stream. But here we are this morning, guys and gals, and it's a cool
It,
January
as they say, yeah, January.
January 18th.
It's the calm before the storm, as they say.
Exactly. So how's everyone's week been? How's your week been?
Oh, been pretty good.
Yeah,
Been kind of busy.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, you always like it when you're busy and you have lots of stuff to do.
Well, it's much better when you're busy and you got lots of stuff to do.
Yes, yes, true.
Much better than being bored.
Mm, mm.
You know, I mean, who wants to be bored?
I'm like that. I don't like having idle hands. I like always being able to have something to do or doing
Well,
a number of things at the
exactly.
exactly.
How's your week been?
Oh, my week's been cool. We had a big kind of extreme sport thing come in for my location. They did some fundraising this past year, and this is the second year they've had it in, and it was wild, man. It takes up the full size of the gym, and it's made for kids, and I'm looking at it going, "This is neat. I want to climb on it. I want to swing," but then my mind's going, "You're not 10 anymore. You're not."
Doesn't mean you can't climb or swing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't heal up as fast as they would, though.
You don't think you're gonna fall. You have confidence that you're actually gonna be able to climb or swing.
But here's the problem, though. All the harnessing and stuff,
Yeah,
it's for kids.
yeah.
I ain't a kid. I haven't been a kid in a long time.
Well, like there's zip line and climbing walls and stuff for adults.
Yeah, I could do. I would love to do the climbing wall, but they're taking it down today.
No.
So, guys,
Next time.
next time, next year maybe, if they raise enough money. So I think we've got a few topics we wanted to cover today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
what? Maybe you can answer this. What the heck is up with every time you turn on the TV now? It seems like shows from like the 80s
Yeah.
or the
Ladies.
70s
Mm-hmm.
are being remade and revamped, or movies are being revamped and tweaked.
Yeah.
Has Hollywood become a the village of the damned? There's no creative ideas left anymore.
Well, I mean, okay, let's see. Just in the last, well, you'd have to go back a little way. There's a remake of
Hawaii
Beverly Hills 90210,
90210.
Melrose Place,
Hawaii
Y50, Odd Couple,
Couple,
Lethal Weapon,
Weapon,
Charmed,
Magnum.
Magnum PI. What else? Um, I know there's some that are still coming that haven't aired yet.
Heather's was supposed to come out.
Heather's was supposed to come out. I'm not sure what's happened at Heather's.
Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions they were doing or were going to do, but I don't know what happened. I don't think it was picked
and
up.
and they were supposed to. We heard also that there was a rework of Buffy supposedly in
Buffy
the
was
works,
supposed to be reworked too. Yeah.
but nothing's come of that.
Yeah.
But it just seems like Hollywood has no original ideas left. So let's take a show like Magnum PI that was really popular, and we'll just
in
rework.
what 80s, late 70s, 80s.
Yeah, or Hawaii Five O.
Yeah.
I was a kid when it was on TV in
Yeah.
rerun.
Yeah.
You know,
I
so
know. Oh, they did Fantasy Island too, a few years ago too. Remember that?
Y-
It didn't last long.
that's why I don't remember
It
it.
didn't last long, but I can't even remember. Back probably the early 2000s, they did
Yeah.
Fantasy Island too, from the 70s.
Yeah, but you know what? It kind of certain shows or certain movies shouldn't be reworked or remade.
Well, some of them aren't even that old. I mean, like, okay, let's take Charmed. It's been off the air 15 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, but yeah. Since 2000, well, 2000, no, 15 years. Yeah, early,
Wow.
mid 2000 from, I guess. Um, and then, and the thing is, like, I guess I've watched it and it's pretty good. But the thing is, the premise is very similar, to the original. It's like it's not really. I mean, I guess that's the point. But if you're gonna do pretty much the three sisters, they're who are orphaned, and all that, why not just continue the Halliwell line? And that's what actually, and I would probably do better if it was the Halliwell line because a lot of fans wanted the Halliwells.
Yeah, you were saying that a lot of fans weren't
Happy that
happy
it's
with
a
it.
completely different family.
Yeah.
So I mean, because you already have a built-in fan base with the original charm.
Of course.
You could bring in like maybe these other characters kind of later on if the original actresses were busy and didn't want to do it or whatever, which apparently they did want to do it. But you could have like their kids, Wyatt and Chris, or Phoebe's kids, or whoever else, and then continue it on from there instead of this whole completely different family
Yeah.
who are now the only charmed ones and all that stuff. But I mean, I guess a Lethal Weapon works because it's same characters.
Yeah.
Different actors, same characters.
Yeah, but because of the actor on the TV series who played Riggs decided to behave in an inappropriate way,
Yeah.
and so
They got fired.
and got fired.
Yeah.
So in Hollywood, getting fired meant his character got killed off.
Well, they could have done what Criminal Minds did. They could have, well, they ended up killing off Gideon, but
Because he couldn't
Gideon
keep his
left.
Yeah.
They had Gideon walk away. I mean, that I think was his own fault because he's said stuff even years later about Criminal Minds, and then like with character of Hodge, he just left. He went into protective custody, and then he decided to leave the bureau to protect his family. They could have just done that too.
There's
Instead
another
of killing
one.
him all, like give the character happiness.
Well,
But I think maybe they did that because it was kind of like that. You do this to us, you say this, this is what we do. you know.
That just seems to be the permeating idea that you cause a stink, you misbehave,
Kill your character off.
and we let you go, and you still talk smack. Just to tell you that there's not a hope in heck of you ever coming back.
It's kind of like a definitive
You're done.
point on it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Well, like you look at the season finale with the original actor who played Riggs on the show. He finally was deciding to move on, get that happy moment,
Yeah.
and he's had the grave of his what? Okay, if you haven't seen it, spoiler. But if you have, and he has a half brother. So he's saying goodbye to the wife, telling her that I'll never forget you, but I need to be happy for myself. Turns around, there's a half brother. Half brother pulls a 45, pop, 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 kills him, dead. If that doesn't mess with your head,
Kills him dead.
kills him dead.
Yeah, well, it could be because I think he did say, there was the altercation on set, and then I think he said some stuff after, and that's probably why they killed him off. But
Yeah, well.
they could just let him leave. But,
Yeah.
You gotta stick it to the actor, I guess.
Yeah, you'll never work for this network again.
You never know, or at least for that production company.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and with acting jobs probably being scarce.
For some actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be a Tom Cruise or
Well, even Liam Neeson for a while there, I saw him and everything.
Yeah, come on. It's a senior citizen kicking like Jason Bourne's butt. Not gonna buy it. Sorry.
Well, like okay, the last movie with the commuter, um, it was a little more realistic because
Because
the
he got
younger
his
guy.
butt kicked.
Well, because the younger guy won, so I
Yeah.
mean that makes more sense.
Good movie, by the way. Check it out.
Maybe we'll review it. um, if you haven't seen it. It's not. It's no, it's not old, but it's been out for a while. But anyway, but that makes more sense
Yeah.
than like Taken.
Oh, he
I
was.
mean, yeah, granted, Taken was what two? I forget. There's three of them, but
Yeah.
when it came out, but you know, I mean, like he still was in his 50s or 60s,
You know, it was so
and he
cliche.
was Jason Bourne only 2 decades later.
He
maybe
was the Jason Bourne of the geriatric set. You know, I was waiting for the like kill counter or butt kicking counter in the corner saying how many butts he kicked.
good movies, but
Yeah.
you know, not that really. But then, what action movies are realistic? Really, let's
True.
face it.
True.
You know, I mean, you always get this one guy like Rambo, Jason Bourne,
And all the bad guys attack.
Taken, and the one takes on about 1,000,000 bad guys and wins.
And the cliche I always love. One good dude, 50 bad dudes. They don't all bum rush him at once. They
never
come
do.
one at a time.
Never do.
That's like in horror movies. You come to home,
And you go up the stairs.
You go up the stairs.
The freaking front door is
It's
right there,
there.
and you go up the stairs. What the
Sorry.
frick? What are you doing?
Sorry, my butt would be out in the park, out in the street on the sidewalk calling 911.
What? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not reaching for a fireplace poker and going up the stairs to see who's there.
And
I
going,
mean, if they haven't
"Hello?"
answered, if they haven't answered you, who's there the first couple once or twice, they're not gonna answer you.
And okay, another
That's
point.
funny.
What serial killer or mass murderer is gonna go? Oh hi, I'm here.
Oh yeah, it's just me.
It's just me.
Yeah, I decided to come in and kill you.
Yeah.
You know?
FYI, I made a cup of coffee while I was
FYI, I
waiting.
made a cup of coffee while I was waiting, and I baked a cake.
Yeah.
You know.
Happy Death Day.
Oh God, that movie.
That's for another conversation.
But you know, yeah, exactly.
And okay,
You know.
you and I have discussed this off camera, but what is up with every song nowadays?
Oh, remakes of songs.
Like anything from heavy metal to pop being turned into a ballad.
And
What?
a remake. Get that.
What the
Beep.
beep? No, I don't want to hear a Judas Priest song remade into a ballad. Sorry. Or AC/DC. No. No.
Well, I mean, literally, we've been at our Tim Hortons coffee shop, for those of you who don't know, here in Canada. And they have the sound system, you can hear the music, and it's like almost every song lately has been a remake of not even that old of a song, like maybe a year or two, you know, up to maybe 5 years old, and they've remade it into a freaking ballad.
You know what
I mean,
really-
granted, the one, Lonely No More, Rob Thomas is actually Rob Thomas,
Okay.
but I like the original better.
Yeah.
Than it. To me personally, I guess it's a personal preference. It to me doesn't work as a ballad. It sounds better faster. It's not incredibly fast song to
No.
begin with, you know. So I don't know. I like it better originally.
And you know it's
And what's the other ones we've heard?
Ronan Keating's
Oh, what's that one called? And it's a female. I forget who sings it though. Right? Who sings that?
it was in Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. It was
Yeah.
The Smile on Your Face, I believe the
Oh.
title.
That's
and-
been remade.
yeah,
And I think it's even slower.
Oh,
It
Hey.
wasn't that wasn't even that fast of a song to
it
begin
wasn't.
with. And
And-
then what else? There's like literally I've heard the Michael Jackson Man in the Mirror.
Oh my
I just
god!
heard that yesterday, and it's like at first I didn't even recognize the song, And again,
She
it's
didn't.
not that fast of a song to begin with, and it's even slower now.
You know, it's pretty bad when you're sitting at your coffee shop and you hear this and you're suddenly doing the
Rocker Dougie moment.
rocker Dougie moment. You know, Terry Fader reference.
Check him out.
Check him out.
He does some videos on YouTube. Very, very good. Ventriloquist.
But it just seems like the record industry or the music industry is creating music these days.
Elevator music.
Elevator music.
Yeah.
Things that you can listen to while you're in the elevator or in the dentist chair while he's drilling into your jaw
to calm you down.
to calm you down. Oh my God.
I think it's also why are there so many remakes when these songs aren't even that old? I mean, granted, Man in the Mirror is not. It's an older. It's probably one of the oldest songs we've heard out of all of the ones that we've heard lately. But it's not even the first one that's got. Oh, I've heard Billie Jean remade too.
Yes.
Which has also been slowed down. But
Billie Jean.
But you know, a lot of them aren't even that old.
No.
And you know, I mean, well, the one from Notting Hill came out a few years ago, but still, it's like why? It's like why?
Leave it alone.
Why not everything needs to be remade?
No.
Like, can you not think of your own ideas for songs?
You know what I think it is? And you may or may not agree with this. I think the music industry and the movie industry, the idea vault is empty now.
Well, this is the thing. It's really difficult for a fresh talent to get in there.
Oh!
And actors, same thing.
Yeah.
As you can see, just look at even the acting. I mean, it's the same actors you see over and over and over again until they retire or they're deemed too old, especially for females, which would be another thing we should talk about. You know, in movie and TV, you know, once you pass a certain age, you're way too old to do this kind of stuff, and it's only for the young. And granted, it's great to have the young actors and writing talent, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I mean, what about the older actors and stuff like that? But the thing is, it's the same actors over and over again. It's either Tom Cruise or Liam Neeson or Robert Downey Jr. for a while. And like there are the
Hugh Jackman was
Hugh
all
Jackman
over the
was
place.
all over the place for a while. You know, I mean, it's kind of like, granted, we like them.
Yeah.
They're great actors and stuff, but they're in almost every. It's same with the females. Was Julie Roberts for a long time, you know, or Natalie Portman now, or you know, whoever else. But what about there's like 100 or thousands of other female actresses at the same age range. I know it's name recognition.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with your production talents. The big movies go to the same directors and producers.
Oh, of course.
Over and over and over and over again because, yes, I know they're proven talents, but that's not giving anybody else a chance, and maybe they have fresh ideas that we haven't seen a million times over.
I think that's probably why our independent film and music industries
it's blossoming quite a bit.
It's blossoming because there's not that such rigidity of, okay, it has to be like this, it has to be done this way.
No, the studios don't have
the
control over it.
So,
like they do in big Hollywood.
Like what we are doing here, we are an independent production in a sense.
Right. Well, we are. This is your production company, my production. We're working together here. I mean, doing it our way. I mean, we don't have somebody telling us, oh, okay, we want this, we want this, we want this, can't do this, can't
and keep
do
it
this.
under budget.
And keep it under budget. There is no budget. But
we succeeded. We are under budget.
we are. But you know, it's exactly that's why a lot of them like doing independent.
Yeah, it's just
you can tell a good story without $1 million budget.
You ever get the feeling that the execs are just sitting in their offices with a magic 8-ball? Will this be a good idea?
Ask again later. And we've seen some big box office bombs. They put a lot of money into it, and they just didn't get the money out of it, you know, because it was more plot driven, or it was more actor driven, or special effects driven than story driven, which it should be.
Okay, there's a time and a place for a certain amount of CGI. I admit, I respect that. It has to be done a certain way. But when 95% of your film is CGI driven, how am I, as a consumer or a film buff, going to invest in that, in the story, in the character, and would I refer someone else to see that movie? More likely not. You know.
I mean, that's kind of like what you're talking about with the, like, let's go to the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
The originals, granted, they were made the earliest when it was 77. It came out. So, of course, they didn't have the same kind of CGI. They didn't have CGI then. And there was special effects, but it was more storyline driven.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got into the character stuff like that. So that's why they're usually still the favorites of most people of the original stories, the original movies.
Oh, of course.
So then the prequels came along, and they're probably the least liked. Even out of the new set since Disney's taken over, because way too much special effects laden. They depended more on special effects and acting, and the problem or story development, because some of it was kind of very like
slapdash.
What it does. I mean, they're very special effects laden. I mean, very good special effects, but that's really what drove them.
Yeah.
And you had some really good actors in
who were just
those
calling
movies, but none of them really performed the way they could perform.
Oh.
I mean, Ewan McGregor, you had Natalie Portman,
Hayden Christensen, Liam Neeson.
I mean, you had some pretty decent actors here, and it was like they all had forgotten how to act. They were like first-year drama students or something. It was very wooden. And then you get to the ones that the Disney franchise took over. So these are the ones that are airing now. And because J.J. Abrams, who did Force Awakens, which is the first one, he wanted to go back to how the original story
Lucas
told
had done
it and focus on story instead. Yes, there's special effects, but it doesn't depend on special effects. Now you've got your storyline back, and they're better movies again.
Because it's more focused on people.
Right, the actual characters should be driving your story, not special effects.
Like when we saw the originals as kids.
Yeah. It was cool. You didn't see anything like that before.
You were like, that Darth Vader, he's a bad man.
Yeah.
Get him, Luke Skywalker.
Right.
I want a Wookiee as a pet.
Wookiee as a pet. Or an Ewok.
I want an Ewok. I want to take Wicket home. You believed in those characters, and you believed in the situations, the drama that these characters were thrust into. But when you see like Samuel L. Jackson, that begged to be in the...
Yeah, he didn't care who was going to be
He said, put me in a stormtrooper. He goes, at least I can say...
I was in Star Wars.
I was in Star Wars.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to be in Star Wars.
That
says something about a franchise.
When you have like big name stars going,
put me
in it. I don't care. Put a helmet on my head. At least I can go see that stormtrooper over there that died.
Me.
That died gruesomely. That was me.
And actually, there is an actor. He can say, I can't remember who it is, but he was Stormtrooper in Force Awakens, and he's actually a pretty well-known actor.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it is. I have to look that up. But he's one of the actors. Yeah, like he's an actor like that people have heard of. I mean, he's not like a...
We'll get back to you on that.
But I can't remember who it is. Look it up. But there's a Stormtrooper. He plays Stormtrooper in A Force Awakens. And I can't remember who it is.
Well, wasn't Ewan's uncle in the original...
Yes, in the original series. Yeah. Dax.
Yeah.
Not Dax.
Trivia question. Who was Ewan McGregor's uncle in the original series? He was a rebel pilot.
His real life uncle.
His real life uncle.
Oh, I do it. He has a name. I do know his name. I forget. It's dark hair. He was a pilot.
Did he live?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Watch. Once we go off air, she'll
I'll remember. But those of you who know Star Wars, you'll know who I'm talking about. But that's Ewan McGregor's uncle.
Yeah. But comment below.
Comment below and tell us the name because I can't remember.
Okay. Another thing.
Okay. So now we'll make a huge swerve here.
Yeah, we're gonna go from sci-fi fantasy to reality.
Reality, yes.
We were at Tim Hortons,
Yes, this week.
and they had banner ad. Try our new chicken strips.
Yes. Now we knew they had that for the kids' meal, but
Yeah.
now adults can get it.
You know, so I asked if she wanted to try them.
Yeah.
She said yes. Get up to the counter. Boom, boom, boom. You want to talk the biggest letdown box like this, and for $5.69, she got
Not including tax.
not including tax. She got 3,
Yeah, about this big.
about the size of like
Yeah, maybe about that. Yeah, about
Yeah.
that big.
3 of
That's
them,
it. That's it. 3 of them. That's it. No,
With-
and dipping sauce.
which was about that big.
Yeah, it didn't even look
It didn't. It was.
partially full even.
It wasn't even a full size dipping sauce. Like you go to McDonald's, you get a dipping sauce.
And you might get more than one, but
Yeah.
not that you need it with 3.
But it's like you're.
It's like the kids' meal without the apple. I mean, that's actually the better deal. If you
Yeah.
think about it, if you're ever going to go to Tim Hortons and get the, I mean, granted, they're good tasting, but there's not enough to them. They're a ripoff. I mean, like, you're getting these tiny little chicken strips, and for 3 of them, and that's it. Kind of for $5.63, you may as well get the kids' meal.
You can get
which
apples.
is only 2, and then you can get apples or cheese
strings,
You get a drink with it.
a juice.
Granted, it's milk or juice.
Yeah, or water. I think. I'm not
Well,
sure.
you can get water anyway, but
But it was more. It'd be more. Like you said, it'd be more economical.
and it's cheaper,
To go that way
and
than
it's a little cheaper.
it's literally like they took a quarter of a chicken breast, sliced 3 hunks off it, and went sod it. We'll batter it and bake it or deep fry it, and then
I mean, yeah, they taste pretty good, but personally, I think they're better than McDonald's nuggets. I don't like McDonald's nuggets.
because it's actual meat.
It's actual meat, but it's not worth the price. Not 5 for 3 little tiny strips. I mean, if you're gonna spend that much,
Give
get
me
a
a
real
chick-
strip.
Yeah, give
you
me
know,
a chicken strip that's actually got some,
meat to
to
it.
it.
I mean, if especially only giving them 3.
Well,
At least give them 1 more or 5 if you're giving them nugget-sized strips.
and you look at the ads. You look at the ads, and they're like, they look like they're like the size of
Of course, false advertising.
of a baby's arm, man. They're like they're thick, and you're going, yes.
Well, yeah, they look bigger, but of course they're close-ups.
But you get that. It gives you that perception of they're thick.
They're big,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you get them, and they're like, tiny.
Well, they look like a little bit bigger than a nugget.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go to McDonald's, pay a little bit more.
And
but
you get 9.
almost the same. Well, yeah, you can get 6.
Yeah.
You can get 6 nuggets for roughly the same price.
And it's
And you get fries and a drink with that. So, I mean, which one would you go to? I mean, yeah, granted, that tastes a little better, but I mean, if you want value for your money, you're going to McDonald's.
exactly.
You know?
And it was so really it was pretty disappointing to
Yeah.
you spend almost $6 and
Not worth it.
feel like you got ripped off in the process.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I mean, if you want to pay, well, it would be over $6
Yeah.
with tax. But I mean, if you want to get ripped off, but if you want better chicken, McDonald's nuggets or like for more value, Popeyes.
Popeyes has got
You
good
get
chicken
3.
strips.
You get 3 too, but it's an actual meal.
Well, yeah,
For
'cause
roughly
they're-
the same price.
Their chicken strips are like this.
And they're actual strips.
Yeah.
And then you get fries and a drink too.
And a biscuit.
And a biscuit. So head to Popeyes or KFC,
See.
which also has better nuggets and strips. And again, a meal.
Yeah, it's just
Sorry, Tim's. I mean, they're good, but yeah, it's a fail. That's a fail. It's not worth the money.
tasty fail.
Tasty
Yeah.
fail. Sorry. Too dumbed down
Way down on that one.
on that one. No. So then we have another thing we were going to talk about.
Oh,
This is something that's just happened. I heard
Recently.
about it like yesterday. I know there are going to be some people out there who are conservative supporters. I'm going to preface this by saying we're not liberals. We don't support the liberals. Never voted for the liberals. So we're not saying this in support of the liberals. We're saying this because it's ridiculous.
yes.
I just heard yesterday that I know the liberals put in an education plan for free tuition for students. I don't under certain economic like yearly earnings. So I think it was something like either 30,000 or 25,000. Which I mean, it might a few years ago might have seemed like a lot, but here in Canada,
Not that much.
let's put it this way: that's not even a livable wage here in Canada, especially not in the big cities anymore. Just
No.
because house prices have gone up, and now granted, I mean, we don't know which country you're watching this from. It might seem like a lot. It might be a lot there, but it certainly isn't here. And Google our prices of stuff here, and you'll see why. But so they came up with an idea
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people are always saying, well, if you don't want to make minimum wage, get an education. Well, that's not necessarily within reach for a lot of people financially or even academically, and so I don't think a lot of people think of that. But there may be people who just can't get a better education for whatever reason. So the liberals, if it was financial, came up with the idea of doing free tuition under a certain income range.
Okay, that I would support.
Right. So, in the grants. And, I mean, yes, we have something called OSAP here, which are student loans. Again, not everybody gets it. You have to have a certain, again, you have to have a certain income level and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you're not guaranteed OSAP, no matter what people, I know people who did not get it, who applied for it, so, and they still have to pay $10,000-$20,000 for university a year,
Mm-hmm.
depending on your program, and anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 roughly for college a year.
Yeah.
So, again, depending on your program. So, we hear yesterday
Mm-hmm.
the conservative government has decided, no, we're cutting that out. We're not doing free income for people under a certain wage. I mean, okay, now how are they supposed to get educated? What if they've already started school and now they can't afford to pay the rest of the time they're there?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're going to be hit next semester or next year, with say a $20,000 bill. They have to come up with the funds for.
Yeah.
Or they've enrolled in college under that plan
Mm-hmm.
because it started out maybe a year ago.
Year and a half.
Roughly, maybe. And now I can't afford my college anymore. And I can't afford OSAP because I'm just over the minimum to qualify for OSAP. Because they do, I mean, even for students, bear this in mind, they take into consideration what your parents make, not just what you make. It's the whole household. So if you live at home, because this happened to my sister back when she went to college, and she didn't qualify for OSAP because of it. They took into consideration what my parents made. She was making her own money. She had a job and all that kind of stuff.
Family income.
But the total family income they take into consideration.
And
so,
she made over it.
huh?
She made over what they would allow.
The whole, so a total, it made over what they allowed for OSAP. So you have to keep that in mind too. And same thing with my niece.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to pay for it all herself. It was about $11,000 her program at a university, and she only got partial OSAP because of they took into consideration what her parents made. And she's an adult, so bear that in mind when you're searching for OSAP. It's probably better if you're living on your own.
Yeah.
And you'll actually have a better chance of getting it than if you live at home. Even if your parents aren't paying for it, they take that into consideration. It's ridiculous. So,
but that seems
so they've cut that, and now they said this is for the students. Remember that they're cutting tuition by 10%. 10% on a $20,000 yearly. That's like just whatever is only about $600. You still have $14,000 you have to come up with the money for.
Thank you, Premier.
You know,
Thank you, Premier.
thanks, conservative government. Good job.
Well, you see, and also like they slashed money for maintenance work in schools, and work,
a
you know,
lot, a
a
lot of
lot.
money. And
And
these are the schools your kids are going to now. These
yeah.
aren't new schools. Like Toronto's got a huge backlog of years. Their schools have asbestos in them,
Mm-hmm.
so this affects when that gets removed. This affects if the roof's going to cave in on your kid's head.
You know, and
You know, like,
it just staggers my mind that
and they also cut money to programs.
Oh,
So that means
yes.
no more tutors. So if your kid is suffering and not doing that well in class, and maybe your school has tutors, some schools have tutors.
Yeah.
No more. No more tutors. You have to pay for that if you want your kid to have tutors.
You know, I think,
Or and other programs as well.
you know,
No more.
where I am. I'm lucky we have a aftercare program, but you know, it affects where I work. And,
Yeah, but that's different than what these programs are.
But you know, like the maintenance and repair budgets, that affects where I work, and
Right.
because we are an older location, and you know, and you've got to bring these buildings, these locations up to code, modern
They need to
code.
be safe.
Like look in the news when they were showing like room temperatures during the summer at
Yeah,
94.
hot. Because a lot of schools here do not have air conditioning.
No.
And so they're hot.
Like,
And they don't turn them on. Like, they turn on for a little bit, but not all. Like, not schools have them, so they're sweltering in about in plus 40 Celsius. That's over 100 and some odd degrees Fahrenheit.
because a lot of schools were built in like the 50s, 60s, you know.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of them were. They're starting to build newer ones, but most of the schools in the area are older.
schools, and some of them are being some have been amalgamated into like one school, but it's hard when these old schools can't be retrofitted for like
No,
for
because it costs a lot of money.
it would cost a lot of money, and a lot of their classroom windows are like this,
Yeah, and they can't get a lot of airflow.
you know, or you can't put a air conditioner
No.
or something into that, so you
Well,
have
you could probably, but again, it'd probably come out of the teacher's own
Yeah.
pocket, because there wouldn't be a budget for it. They could get maybe a portable air conditioner, because the hose would fit through a smaller
Yeah.
opening.
but like
But-
each teacher has a budget for their classroom and how much they're able to spend, and
Right, and
Are-
they usually wouldn't include that.
no, you know, that's why you'd probably see a lot of box fans. Bless you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
You see a lot of box fans, a lot of oscillating fans, and
And yeah, they all a lot of time, and you're in 40-degree heat. I mean, that's not. It just moves the air around. Let's
Yeah.
face it, doesn't cool it off much.
oh, and the best place to be in that kind of weather, a portable,
Oh yeah.
a big tin box
Yeah, I remember being in a
with
portable.
no circulation,
And it was hot.
and it was hot.
Yeah,
The best
they're
equipment.
hard to cool down. Portables.
They were like the hot boxes you'd see in the old prison movies where they put them in solitary out in the yard.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they. It's the worst thing to ever put a kid into, to have them actually be able to learn in a sweltering
Especially
on
in
a
hot days.
Yeah, going into
hard
this.
to concentrate.
You're not going to be able to concentrate when the only thought in your mind is water,
Cool air.
cool air. Sir, could you open the door, please? It's not working, and
You get a breeze, but it's still warm.
studies are showing, like in extreme heat and extreme cold,
Yeah.
children don't focus. Their attention, their attention is zero.
Well, I mean, if people who are outside workers or have trouble in heat
Mhm.
and things like that, then you don't think students are gonna have a hard time
Oh,
in hot weather
But
too?
like you said, everywhere is so backed up and so backlogged with repair needs.
Because their budget wasn't that great to begin with.
Yeah,
and now they cut it even more.
more. So it's like,
So it's even harder for them. They can't catch up.
so,
They can't do what the pros they need to do.
or they've got to go, okay, we can do so much this year for this location, and maybe next year we'll have the money in the budget to come in and finish.
And then other schools wait longer
You know.
to get fixed.
It's like,
And that's exactly what it's going to mean.
it's like running with a handful of sand, and it's all seeping out through your fingers. It's never gonna work.
Well, the thing is, they're always saying, because the province is in debt. Yeah, the province is in debt. The country's in debt. I think every country in the world's in debt. You know. But the thing is, where are we going to save money? Where are we going to save money? Where are we going to save money?
Yeah, but
Well, the thing is, you're taking it from places, as I say, the most vulnerable. So you freeze the minimum wage, and it may not even go up till 2021 now. Well, then, it's going to need to be even higher than $15. You know, $15 right now is technically not a livable wage.
No.
It's not.
No.
I mean, our minimum wage here now is 14.
$14.25.
It's just 14.
It went down?
It's just 14. They just raised it to 14.
Are you sure?
I'm sure it was 11.25 to 11.75 to 14. Look it up.
Have to do that after we go off the air.
Yep. And so of course we can't afford that. Small business can't afford to raise it to $15. Oh no, they'll go out of business. Well, they're going out of business anyway. I mean, around here, there's not a lot of businesses because the rents are too high for the stores.
Yeah.
And they're not getting the foot traffic because nobody can afford to buy anything there. Why? Wages aren't high enough.
Exactly.
It's a double-edged sword, or it's a, as I say, vicious cycle. You don't pay people enough, they're not going to spend. Businesses suffer, businesses close, and no jobs. It goes round and around and around and around again. So the thing is, I've said this before. I know some smaller businesses do hire outside help. That is not the majority of who hires in our country, probably not in your country either. It's the bigger mid-range to large companies are the ones who are hiring most of the people. They are the ones who can afford a $15. You can't tell me a company like McDonald's, Walmart, someplace Walmart is actually paying $15. That's their own choice. In the States, I see it, and I think it might be some places here too. Tim Hortons, any of these big companies, you can't tell me can't afford $15. They are going to, then people say, oh, they'll raise prices. They'll raise prices.
They're going to raise prices
They're going to raise prices anyway. It happens all the time. Freaking Tim Hortons just raised prices again. Minimum wage only went up once.
Because they deem it
last year.
Operational
It's operational costs. You know why? Because their costs have gone up. Because their suppliers who probably pay more than minimum wage or whatever have raised their prices. And so their supply, and then they want to make a profit. Tim Hortons made billions of dollars profit. Walmart has made billions of dollars profit. Dollarama has.
Oh!
You're telling me they can't afford to pay $15 minimum wage?
Okay,
With billions. 1/4. That's 3 months. 1/4. That's not a year. 1 month. 1/4 is 3 months. $1 billion profit. You're telling me they can't afford to pay $15 minimum wage? That's crap. And talking about that, I was going to say, so the government cuts, make sure you don't get a raise, make sure you can't get an education if you don't make or make it really hard for you to do so, and whatever else. And what they also did yesterday, they just gave themselves a higher living subsidy. They voted themselves to have over $2,000 living. You know why? Because the cities are expensive to live in. Well, no crap. This, this is what people have been saying for a long time. That it's expensive to live in the cities. which is why
Duh.
people need better wages to begin with. But let's vote ourselves in to have, and well, I'm not just talking conservatives, they all did it. So how is it fair that you just cut education to people, or the means, and
To
some
get an
people
education.
now are not going to be able to get an education because of it. But I live so far away from uh,
Queens Park.
Queens Park, and I need over $2,000 from taxpayer money to pay for my rent. We don't get subsidized for rent. Why should they? And why is it they get to vote in how much they get? They can give themselves raises. They can give themselves
It's not like I can go to
subsidies.
It's not like I can go to my facilities manager and say, "Hi, boss. I'd like to go to $29.50 an hour
Right,
now."
or 30.
Or 30.
I'm voting myself to have
I'm
that.
voting myself. You know what this individual would say to me? There's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way through.
And you wouldn't be able to do it either. So I don't think they should be able to do it. I don't think they should be able to give themselves raises. They already make over $200,000 a year. You can't afford your own rent, really? They make more than the majority of people in the province do. I mean, besides CEOs or doctors or whatnot. But and some doctors don't even make that. So, you know what I mean? And yeah, granted, they work long hours, so do doctors, so do firefighters, so do policemen,
Yeah,
so
but
do
our
all that.
politicians are getting so many perks, though.
They get too many perks, I think, for doing that. Where's the perks for vets?
Yeah.
Who went out and fought for your country? Where's the perks for the police who go out and keep you safe? Where's the perks for the firefighters or the EMTs who risk their lives and get cancers and stuff for going into a burning building? Where's their perks? That kind of thing. Or even your factory workers who's making the stuff you're using every day. Where's their perks? What about this whole with GM? Like all plants closing, they're losing their jobs. What about that? But let's give ourselves a raise, or let's give ourselves subsidy that we don't need because we make a lot of money. That's not even a quarter of what we make.
On behalf of the people of Canada, we would like to tell our government and our politicians, request denied.
I think the people should vote that they're not allowed to vote themselves wage raises anymore, or vote themselves a higher subsidy anymore, or anything else like that. I think it should be up to us whether they deserve to get it.
Or you know what? It should
Personally,
be like how employers do it.
Mm-hmm.
You made promises, you made guarantees.
Right, and you're not living up to them.
Your wage should be subject to what you say you're going to accomplish. Say you said,
because we need a profit here.
Yeah.
Your wage is based on that company's ability to make a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. You want to know where you can cut some money and save some money? Your wages, politicians.
Yeah.
Your wages. How about you take a pay cut? How about you don't give yourself? How about you don't need 200,000, 100 some thousand to live. You don't.
Their office budgets are ridiculous.
Why don't you cut your wages and bring it down to a livable wage? Mm-hmm. Why do you need to be a 1%er? And that's a tweet I saw. Somebody posted something. Oh, living like a 1%er.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your work for us.
Before he had all his troubles and he went through his health crisis, the late Rob Ford, he cut it to the bone.
Right.
He said no.
When he was city councilor. I don't know if he did that as a premier or as mayor. As mayor.
Like his operational budget for his office was like minimal.
Well, because he wasn't using some to take their friends on trips or take their friends out on lunch, or you don't make enough money without using the taxpayers' dime to do it.
And
we're not just talking, it's not just liberals, conservatives do it too. So those of you who are conservative people, it's only liberals who do that. No, it's not.
Sorry.
It's all of them.
Pardon us. There was a video that circulated on YouTube, and he was showing all the perks that as it,
Yeah, they
like
get a lot.
metro passes.
Yeah, what she says they
I
don't
don't
need.
need.
What do I need? I have my own car. What do I need a Metro Pass for? They get that free.
And he was just showing card after card after card,
Yeah,
and it was,
I remember that.
and
And that's city councilors.
yeah, and he's like,
Imagine what the provincial and the federal get.
and it's like, this is such a wasteful expense.
Sure it is. And they wonder where are we getting the money for stuff? We're
You
in
know,
debt.
We're in debt.
Well, gee, why don't you look at the stuff you get instead of taking from the workers of the province and the country? Why don't you take it from your own pockets and stop with these perks?
I think, you know what, you got to stop the special interest groups and throwing perks at these guys, because
Lobbyists.
they'll just keep going along with the status quo. And
Well, of course, because they get they get stuff. They get the stuff that they want if they give them perks
and
money.
like any job, you have to achieve what you say you're going to do.
Right.
You got to work to a certain degree, a certain level, to get that raise.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do as a people is say, look, we voted you into office. Now you have to provide us with and show us that you said you were going to change the housing situation.
Right.
And
that hasn't changed.
And no.
It's gotten worse.
In, say, a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Whatever you made.
No, they need to have yet another committee, yet another consultation, yet another evaluation. I mean, how many freaking consultation evaluations do you need? I mean, I remember them talking about developing the Toronto's waterfront for years now.
And they're still talking about it.
20 plus years now, and they still haven't done anything. It's just all condos. You know, but there's no real development of a waterfront. 'Cause Toronto really doesn't have a great waterfront, and most Torontonians will tell you that.
Oh, for sure.
But, it's the same thing with here in our city. I mean, how many friggin' consultations do you need? It's just eating up money.
Yeah.
And you wonder how come we have no money for stuff? We're over budget. We're in debt. Oh, well,
duh.
Take it from the workers. Take it from those who can least afford it.
Like when you have guys and gals that have been working in factories for 19, 20 some odd years, this is all they've ever known, and all of a sudden you yank that stability that they've built up, and you pull that away from them. A lot of factories aren't unionized. Some are.
A lot aren't. Yeah.
Some are. So they'd have, at least in a unionized facility, they've got the security,
protection.
But in a independent company, an independent factory, they're suddenly stuck. So we as people need to be able to say to our elected officials, no, you have not stuck to your committed promises. You've not achieved what you said you were going to achieve.
They always achieve the easiest promises, the cheapest promises they'll go for.
But you know what? You want to earn that money? You want to get that raise? Fix the housing. Fix the minimum wage. Give us a reason to believe in the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
And if we as a nation, as people, can see that, then maybe we can say, okay.
Well, the thing is, how many more times are you going to talk about fixing the homeless problem or fixing the low-income problem and then do nothing about it? I mean...
They'll be talking about it once we're
long gone. There'll still be a problem.
Yeah.
And we talked about this yesterday. We believe people want a class system here, and that's why nothing changes. I mean,
because
in Canada, there is enough resources. There shouldn't be poverty here.
There shouldn't be people sleeping on the streets.
Canada is a pretty rich country, and it's probably richer than the politicians want you to believe it is. Our economy is not that bad. I mean, our economy is really closely tied to what the States is doing, what China's doing, what a lot of other countries are doing. So, but it's a little more stable than some other countries are.
True.
And yet, you've got record numbers using food banks. You've got record people sleeping on the street. I mean, and these temperatures, like right now, we're going into a cold snap here.
It's going to get ugly.
There's not enough shelter beds. There's not enough this or not enough that. And yet, since I was a kid, and probably even before that, they've been talking about, what can we do about it? what can't? There's not enough money to do anything about it. There's
And
just too big of a problem. And a lot of the homeless are either mentally ill or whatever, and some that just don't want. I don't blame them. Don't want to live in a shelter. I
Well,
don't really blame them. There's a lot of
shelters have
crime
become
there.
like hunting grounds in
Oh,
its own
sure.
right.
Yeah, and if you watch the news, you'll hear that. But you're telling me why? I mean, we've heard of a really good plan. This I think is in Detroit, who also is having a lot of financial problems.
Woo.
They're like a bankrupt city, which is a shame. But a developer came up with an idea of building tiny houses for the homeless
Yes.
and for those with really low incomes, so
Yeah.
that they can get into the housing market and have a roof over their head.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think they had to pay for it. I can't remember. I have to look that up. But or they only had to pay like what they could afford to.
Mm-hmm.
And he bought land instead of putting condos that are
He put
luxury. That's all that's ever built. It's luxury. So
Mhm.
over $1 million. He built tiny
Homes.
houses,
Yeah.
and I think about 100 of them. And I think he's
At
completed
least.
some, and I think they're working on another set. But for that, why can't cities do that?
Oh.
They're
Oh.
tiny houses aren't that expensive to build. I know they're not developers are not going to make a profit, but you're already making a lot of profit from all their millions of other condos and stuff you're building. So why can't the city or the province or whatever you really want to help actually help, instead of more consultations and more of this and more of that for another 20, 50, 100 years, while you make more money and make sure that the workers don't make any more money, because can't afford it. So why not? There's plenty of land, even here, but even our city's not even zoned for them. Like we've talked about wanting a tiny house ourselves. We can't even do it here in the city 'cause it's not zoned for it.
And see that we gotta go way up
We'd
north.
have to go way up north or into a rural area. And why should we?
Yeah. This
Like-
is where we work. This is where we live.
And so why not, like that developer did,
Mhm.
buy land and do that and start to actually help eliminate, instead of talking about it. I mean, if you have to vet them, if they're mentally ill or whatever, actually get them help if,
Yeah.
if at all possible. And because Habitat for Humanity is great, but there's about a 20-year waiting list for it. So there needs to be something else. So that tells you how big the problem is. But that's just kind of our 2 cents on the whole thing. You have to let us know what you
Yeah,
think.
tell us-
And
yeah,
you
please.
might agree with us, you might not agree with us, and that's fine.
We'd love to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
Because
Because I do have a lot of people, my friends, who disagree, and we've had really good debates on the subject, and we've actually come up with some good ideas we do agree with.
So let's hear what your ideas are.
Yeah. What would you do to fix
What would
that
you do?
problem?
How would you fix it, or how would you deal with the political grab bag of money that our politicians seem to be dipping themselves
Into their own pockets.
into their own pockets?
What would you do to fix that or change that?
Well, listen, guys, it was great to actually get to hang out with you during the,
day.
But alas,
It's that time.
it's that time. Doug 218 has to go out into the real world, which is over here and over there, and actually deal with what Mother Nature might be brewing outside.
Yes, we're in for a big snowstorm tomorrow and really cold temperatures tomorrow. Not looking forward to that.
On her birthday.
Yeah,
On her birthday.
that's really annoying. Because we had plans and now we might be snowed in. Yay!
But we're going to start our fingers,
Put your fingers for us too, okay?
and that,
And appreciate it.
Four Towers Films is actually going to be able to get out
Go
with
and enjoy my
our birthday. So, guys, remember we both subscribe. We
subscribe.
We subscribe. We
Yes, we do.
and we upload 3 times a week:
Upload 3 times a week.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah.
Please give this video a like, or if you didn't enjoy it, that's fine. Give it a dislike. Tell us what's going on. I want to hear both sides of the comments, and
Yeah.
um,
It helps us improve.
yeah,
It
we
helps
can only
what,
get
what you want to hear or what you want to see.
and hit that button, that notification bell.
Notification bell's up there.
Up there.
Up there.
But if I'm looking on my computer, it's down
up,
here.
No, it's not. It's up there. Notification is up there. Subscribe is down here. Subscribe's down here. Your notification bell's up there.
Oh,
You're looking on your mobile, so it's a little different. If
That's
you're on
right.
if on the mobile, it's probably down here.
the subscribe and the bell are
If
over.
if you're on the computer, it's up here.
Okay. So please hit that bell,
So you know when we upload or when we're live next.
or when we're live next. Doug 218, Four Towers
Four
Film.
Towers Films.
Have
Have
a great.
a great rest of your day and a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. You never know. We might upload. Sometimes we upload surprise things, so look for those
Never know. Check in.
too.
Love you
Take
guys.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye.